Hello, welcome to the final whistle. I'm Kenzie Benali.
And I'm Steve Forbes.
Well, we fought until the end there, but it just wasn't enough. It finished 3-2 in Newcastle's favour, and we are going to be talking through all the major talking points from that game with our guests, Dean Hammond and Adam Leach. Adam, we'll come to you first. Newcastle down to 9 men. It was a bit of a tough one to take today.
Yeah, I mean, really disappointing, to be honest, Kenzie. So that's how I feel about it. Pretty gutted with the way that game went. In some ways, almost harder to take than the 9-0 in a strange kind of way. Really frustrating. Definitely a combination of things. Some first half, some pretty awful moments defensively from Saints, I would say. Second half, the conditions I don't think helped it Saints, but also a lack of intensity. It felt like out there. I'm not quite sure why. I really expected that Saints were going to have a massive response today, and we were going to see a really positive, upbeat performance. But after the kind of self-inflicted problems of the first half, and in particular the third goal, which really took the wind out of their sails, they never really got going. And also you've got to give Newcastle a little bit of credit as well, I feel. I mean, they were super disciplined, determined when they were down to 10 and then down to 9. Maybe a little bit of a lesson there for Southampton after what happened against Manchester United as well. So yeah, just a really disappointing day, I think. And just it feels horribly like that early season form and all the things that got us so excited have just slipped away, and they've just ebbed away in 5 league defeats in a row now. And a Newcastle team who haven't been great this season, now only 4 points difference between them and Southampton, which doesn't feel like that's a reflection of the season, but that's where we are right now. So yeah, a bit of a down day, I feel, today.
Yeah, it is disappointing. Dean, we were feeling so optimistic, weren't we, prior to kick-off? But yeah, as Adam said, we just didn't seem to really get going today.
No, and it is a lot of frustration, I think. I think there was just a little bit of lack of conviction, which we spoke beforehand. I thought there would be a lot of that. I thought that would be over the top. They'd be too eager, too enthusiastic, and started quite nicely, neat and tidy, but forced errors, kind of unprofessional errors as well in the first half. And then got back into the game at 2-1, thinking, okay, let's get in at 2-1, reorganise, readjust. And then to concede that goal before half-time was very, very difficult to take. And then again, started the second half really slow. Shelvey should have scored really when he ran off the back of Redmond. And that was an opportunity missed for Newcastle. And then a couple of minutes of madness where James Ward-Prowse scored an unbelievable free kick, and then Hendrick getting sent off. And then, like Adam said, just didn't quite move the ball quick enough from side to side. I know the pitch would have played a part in that, but maybe just moving the ball for the sake of it, 1-2 touch, getting it across the pitch. And then opportunities across the ball hit the first man a lot of the time, and then they cleared the ball and lost a bit of momentum. But still had opportunities, but I think just that lack of conviction in both boxes really cost Southampton the game today.
Yeah, well, let's get the goals we conceded out of the way, shall we? Dean, I'll stick with you for this one. Did you feel there was maybe question marks over some of the positioning from Southampton in a defensive aspect?
I think so. I think there were unforced errors, really. I think the players involved will be disappointed. I think the first one in Bednarak, he's gone to win the ball. He's read the pass. And I think if you commit to winning the ball and you don't win the ball, you take the man. The man doesn't get past you. He gets past him. And then a midfield runner doesn't track Willett, who scores the goal. So, 2 errors there. The second one, Bednarak, again, an own goal. He just gets his feet planted. When the ball comes across there, you just need a good connection. You need to concentrate and just connect with the ball to clear it. I think he just gets his feet planted and mixed up. And, that's poor defending, really, for a player of his standard. And then the third goal, I think it's just a little bit lack of concentration from McCarthy, being aware of the situation, being aware of the timing, because even if Southampton had played out, there wasn't time to get a counter-attack or score. So just clear the ball, get it away from danger, I think Ryan potentially was a little bit weak in his challenge. Should have been, again, aware that he tried to play it around the corner. Should have just gone full committed in the tackle. And it's just that little bit of experience to be aware that, okay, we've got ourselves back in the game at 2-1. Let's go into half-time in this situation and not concede again. So, yeah, really, really poor end to the first half when I thought actually Southampton were in the ascendancy then.
Yeah, Adam, Dean just said it all there, really. It was a really poor end to the first half, and that third goal really seemed to be the hammer blow. What was your assessment of Southampton's defending in key moments today?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with everything Dean said. It was substandard. It was not good enough for the quality of the team they are and the quality of players they've got, the way they've played this season. I think all the goals were poor. I don't think Newcastle really, I felt like, earned any of the goals through blistering play or moments that you say, okay, they were just too good for you there. Fair enough. Somebody's done something magical. Saints could and probably should have stopped all of them. And the third one, I mean, at 2-1, you just felt like Saints were going to come out in the second half at 2-1 and it would be a very different game. They got themselves back in it. But at 3-1, even before we knew what was going to ensue with Newcastle losing players in the second half, you've got a mountain to climb. They've got something to cling on to then. And it's a long road back then when you're giving them something to hold on to, because the one thing you know about Newcastle this season is the criticism of them has been that they've got their points through playing a very kind of defensive way, very organised, fairly dull. It's not what the Newcastle fans want to see, which is why there's been rumblings of discontent, but it's what Steve Bruce has needed to do to get points on the board for them this season. So you know they're going to be disciplined. If you give them a 2-goal advantage, it's going to be hard, and it proved impossible for Saints to get back despite everything. And the third goal summed it up. It was just a shambles, wasn't it, really? I mean, McCarthy, I don't know really what he's thinking at that point in the half of just trying to play it like that. And then, yeah, you expect Ryan to probably, I mean, he's in a difficult position, but you expect him to just react a bit better as two of Saints' most senior players, very experienced, two very, very high quality players as well. And you just don't expect those kind of moments. And Saints, sadly, are producing them. And I don't just point the finger at those guys in the defence. We look at the defensive mistakes, but Dean said at the start, completely correct. I mean, you could talk the same all through the pitch today, and you could point the finger at various different departments. The defenders come more under scrutiny, I guess, but actually, you know what? I don't think the forwards played very well. The midfield wasn't great. It was just poor all over, and the goal kind of summed it up, really, and it was just too big a mountain for Saints to climb.
Well, let's move on to a more positive note. There was a great goal from Takumi Minamino. Dean, how did you rate his debut today, and do you think we're going to see many more goals from him this season?
I think you'll definitely see more goals from him. I think he did okay. I think the pitch hindered him second half because the ball didn't quite move as quick as he would have liked. But he was neat and tidy. His awareness was very, very good. Use of both feet, very, very intelligent in his movement. I think first half, when Nathan Redmond tried to slide him in with the outside of his right foot, he made a really good run across the box. So his movement's intelligent. And obviously for the goal, again, his position, he was kind of playing in that number 10 role, that 9 role, moved across unaware. And his first touch is fantastic into the box. And then a great strike at the near post with his weaker foot, his left foot. So, no, he did okay. And you can see there's definitely signs of him being a class player, a class act. And I think he'll be really, really effective. Second half, I think towards the end, he ran out of a little bit of steam. Couldn't quite get the ball into the pocket because it was very, very congested and crowded in the middle. But did okay for his debut, and obviously given his confidence a world of good with scoring an excellent goal on his debut.
Yeah, it really was a terrific strike, and it seemed to just come from nowhere, Adam, and he certainly did well to engineer that chance as well.
Yeah, superb. Like Dean said, I mean, positionally it was great, and then the first touch was fantastic. I mean, that first touch with his right foot to be able to burst into the area and then have the space to hit the ball. I mean, that was kind of what set the goal up. Obviously, it was a absolute thunderbolt of a strike to finish, and Darlow just he barely saw it. It was past him so quick. But the first touch, really, the intelligence to get in that pocket in the first place, and then that first touch really set that up. And it was there were. I'm not going to say there were no positives today, and I think his performance as well as his goal was one of them on his debut. He really slotted in Minamino so well. Looked like he'd been playing with the team for quite some time, and yeah, he probably tired a little bit around the intensity of the game. Obviously, he hasn't been playing regularly week in, week out for Liverpool, obviously, so it's going to take him a little bit of time. But a really encouraging start for him. So that was probably the biggest positive to come out of it for Saints.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Saints did reduce the deficit with a superb free kick from James Ward-Prowse. Dean, just how sexy was that?
Am I allowed to say that again?
I'm going to stop doing it now. I feel like I've overdone it.
It was a fantastic free kick. It really was. I think that's his best yet from the distance and from the accuracy, and it's just been right in the corner. A great strike, power, precision. I think it was one of his best, and he's just superb of it. We've mentioned it before. I don't think there's anyone better in the Premier League. And credit to James. He practices a lot, and when he gets them opportunities, you're almost willing for them opportunities. When the players get fouled around the box, you almost want them to get fouled because he gets a free shot at goal, and he's so good at it. But yeah, a great strike, and the timing of it after Shelvey had missed that chance, I thought, okay, great opportunity now at 3-2 to really get back into this game. But it just didn't quite work out like that. But a great strike, really, really was.
Yeah, it really was fantastic, wasn't it? Dean, I was sticking with you then. Hendricks was obviously shown red after Prowse reminded the referee he had already been booked. Was that the right decision for you? And how do you think that then went on to impact the game?
I think it was definitely the right decision. I think it was really, really foolish of Hendrick. He's aware he's obviously on a yellow card, and then to pull a player back like that in the modern game, if you pull any shirts, you're going to get booked. So, silly decision by him. And impact the game, I think it did, if I'm honest, in terms of, Newcastle went down to 10 men, but they were 3-2 up, and it just made, they sat really, really deep. I think they went 5-4, zero anyone up front when they were with 10 men. And it just made it very, very difficult to break them down. So, the decision did impact the game and probably worked out in favour of Newcastle. Even at the time, they would have been thinking, okay, this is completely changed now. We've just conceded and now we're down to 10 men. This could be a difficult second half. But yeah, it just encouraged Newcastle to sit deeper and deeper and just defend more. And then when they went down to 9 men, obviously they were just, 2 banks of 4, just to clear every ball, defend well, no attacking purpose at all. So yeah, I think it did change the game a little bit.
Yeah, Adam, it was a bit of kitchen sink stuff at the end there, but not to be. Just how frustrating is it to leave today with no points?
Yeah, incredibly frustrating. And that period at the end of the game was, without doubt, the last 15 minutes or so when Newcastle were playing with 9 was the most frustrating part. I mean, you just felt like they were there for the taking. Newcastle defended resolutely, and they deserve credit for that. They showed a lot of character for Steve Bruce today, and credit to them for that. But Saints, you've just that lack of intensity there, lack of ideas, lack of creativity. Not moving the ball quick enough. Not when they got the ball in wide areas, when they did, the crossing was just awful most of the time. Really, really poor. Also, to be completely honest, I'm not entirely sure why we didn't see more changes, because it wasn't working. They had Gineppo. Ralph also had Teller, I think, on the bench as well. And I kind of felt like he might shake it up a little bit more than he did. And in the end, I think by the time I know they're a bit unlucky when they hit the post. But to be honest with you, actually, Newcastle saw out a long period with 9 men fairly easily at times. They had to defend hard, but Saints were not making Darlow make world-class saves left, right and centre, and that for me that was the really disappointing part. But I think what I said before the game, I felt like this was a big one for them, this and the Wolves game, because I kind of felt like if you're going to really challenge for something really meaningful, and bearing in mind where Saints were just a few weeks ago, we were thinking, 7th, 8th, maybe. that's really looking a big stretch now. There's still plenty of games to go, but they really need to turn things around to get that kind of finish now. So then you're feeling like, okay, maybe it's going to be mid-table again. Bit of a shame after the start they've had. So then you've got the cup game now. And really, the season almost rests on that cup game, because that's really where they've got an opportunity to still do something meaningful. And I think the disappointment is that after such a great start to the season, it would be really sad if this season just ends in kind of a mid-table finish, because it felt like there's been so much more, and it feels like Saints are so much better than that. But at the moment, like 5 league defeats in a row, the form doesn't suggest they're better than that. So yeah, just very disappointing, and pretty gutted about this one, I feel.
Yeah, no, it is disappointing. But as always, we dust ourselves off and we march on to the next fixture. Wolves in the cup next. Dean, what's your early thoughts on that one?
Well, it's an exciting one. You know, the cup competition has been really good for Southampton this season. There's been some good performances, especially the last one against Arsenal. Tough fixture away from home against Wolves, who have picked up a little bit. But a fixture I think Southampton will look to obviously win. It's a distraction from the league. It's an opportunity again for the players that have come back today to get some more minutes under their belt, and to get that win. You know, we scored 2 goals today, which is a positive after not scoring for a while. So that's a good thing. Let's take that into the next game. There was opportunities created today. There could have been more potentially, obviously, against 10 and 9 men. But playing Wolves in the FA Cup, you know, that's an isolated game. So go into that game, try and win the game, put a performance on again, concentrate on that performance, work off again, like I suggested they might do today, is get a clean sheet, you know, work off a clean sheet and keep creating opportunities, and I'm sure they can get a positive result.
Adam, a good cup run could perhaps soften the blow of a slight dip in form in the league. How important is Thursday for the Saints?
I mean, I've said all along, I feel like for Saints, a cup this year is a really realistic ambition. They're a good enough team to beat any other side on their day. Wolves, yeah, it's a tricky enough draw, especially on the form that Saints are in, but they're more than capable of beating Wolves. They're just going to have to do a lot better, and they're going to have to pick themselves up. And I think that really there needs to be a few players looking at themselves in the mirror and realising that this is a really, really big game now. Saints, they aren't finishing in the top 6 now. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to get relegated either. They're going to be somewhere in the middle of all that. So the cup now is really the thing they've got to play for this season. They've got to really, really try and turn this around. I know it's easier said than done. I think some of what we saw today was, a display of a team that are lacking a bit of confidence and a little bit of belief. I don't think they're lacking motivation. I think that's unfair. I think they're just struggling, and it's hard to get out of that rut sometimes once you get in it. But this is a big game, because there's a big opportunity, I still feel, for Saints in the FA Cup this year. And they've got to really, really try and make this one count, because this is really important. If there is to be something really great to come out of this season, it probably rests on the FA Cup for them now. So they've really got to try and get themselves up for this one and get a win.
Great stuff. Well, Adam, Dean, thank you very much for joining us again today with all your insight and analysis. As we said, next up, Saints swap the Premier League for the FA Cup, and it's a 5th round tie at Wolves. It's a 5:30 kickoff on Thursday evening, so we'll be with you from 4:15. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you then.